Heidi here from Rain Country Homestead. God is good all the time. Today I want to show you how you can make your own herbal, all natural clay mask for skin and hair. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make your herbal tea blend. And I will explain what I have in this and how I do that after I do this other step, because I want to get this soaking first. Bentonite clay is the key ingredient. So find yourself some good bentonite clay. I get mine from Amazon, and if it's still available on there, I'll post a link to the kind I use. And you're going to want to start with much less than you think you're going to need. So I'm going to make a fairly good sized batch here. That's about 1/4 cup. I'm going to put in another 1/4 cup. I know that's going to be actually way too much, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because here's the thing about bentonite clay is it's very, very absorbent. So I'm going to put my tea in here, my infused water. And actually I was going to kind of filter out some of the bits, though it's not a big deal. I've actually left them in there and kind of liked it. It sort of depends on how smooth you want your clay mask to be. Now I have used this in both my skin, on my skin and in my hair, and on different skin and nail problems. Like I've been battling a toenail fungus for a while. And anyone who's ever had a toenail fungus, which I'm telling you comes from a gut problem most likely, will find that once you have it, it takes a very, very long time to get rid of. And this is one of the things that's been the most effective on it. It's been slowly getting better. And because I understand how bentonite clay works, I figured, I hadn't even read about trying it on toenail fungus. I just tried it because I just had a feeling it would work, and it's been working really good. And I've been doing that in conjunction with an oregano, tea tree, coconut oil blend, and even using my my deodorant blend, because of the baking soda and the tapioca starch, tapioca starch is what I used in that. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, and the clay will continue to keep absorbing that tea, and I will need to add more as I go, but I want to let that sit and just absorb, because I said this in another video that bentonite clay is very much like a sponge. Now, I'm going to explain to you what I have in this particular tea blend. It's the same blend as my multi-herb soap. And all of the herbs in here come from my own garden, and they're all grown organically. And every single one of these is good for the hair and the skin in some way. So I have marshmallow leaf and flowers in there. I have rose petals, lavender flowers, pansy flowers, calendula flowers, nasturtium flowers, dandelion flowers, yarrow leaves and flowers, and borage leaves. So you can make whatever you have on hand. This is just, I try to get as much of all those great herbs grown in my garden in there as possible that I know are good for the skin and the hair. And it would be too long to go through every benefit, and I'm not going to remember that each one has. I mean, they're all unique, but they're all beneficial to your skin and hair. I'm just not going to remember them all off the top of my head. I'd have to go look them up again. And even if I did, it would take forever to explain it all. So look some up. And then rosemary is also another good one that's really good for the hair. And I believe also for the skin. Usually if it's good for your hair, it's good for your skin, and vice versa. And some other ones would be thyme and aloe vera. I didn't even think about that. I could add aloe vera to this. Of course, that you would put in as part of the liquid itself. But anyway, so I stuck my dried herbs. I just stuck them loosely into my teapot, and then I added my rainwater to this. And then I brewed it for a little while. It's actually still warm. And like I said, if you want, in fact, I was just pouring that without filtering it, you can add, see, these are my herbs. I have them broken up pretty small, and I've made my clay masks like this. Again, it just depends on, you can add those herbs in there like that, and I like it both ways, or you can leave them out and have a much smoother blend. So anyway, you want to just keep adding the tea, let it sit, add the tea or the your infused water, herb infused water, and I make it very strong, as you go, and then let it sit and mix and mix and mix. This part can take a while to get it nice and smooth, but for the most part, that's really all you need is your herbs, your herb water, and your bentonite clay. That's all you need to get started. And then I have some essential oils. A really sweet lady on YouTube is ordering a couple of my clay masks, and so I'm making 2 batches just for her. One is going to be rosemary grapefruit, and the other one's going to be frankincense. And those all have great benefits to the skin as well. So, and I'm using for these blends, I'm using the Now Foods. Now these are non-therapeutic grade, so I'll be using like whole capfuls of each of these. I recommend you go with the therapeutic grade, which is what I'm switching to. I'll probably still buy the Now Foods for certain things, but besides the fact that I'm understanding more about the importance of the therapeutic grade, though I've really liked Now Foods for a long time, I have found that some of their stuff does have synthetic ingredients added to them. One of the oils I ordered that came in, and it wasn't advertised like this online, and it said synthetic. It was cut with some synthetic oil, and I was very upset about that. So I'm going to start pulling away from them for the most part, or at least double checking. Anyway, so yes, if you're going to go therapeutic oil, you want to do just a drop or 2, and it's going to depend on the oil. Each oil's different, and I suggest, there's a couple of people I suggest looking up online, and that's Oily's Humble Home and Big Bear Homestead. They do a lot of videos on the therapeutic grade oils, and they can explain to you, like Robin's been on Big Bear Homestead has been doing a very good series breaking down each oil once a week, and giving you all the benefits and how you can use it. So I recommend going to those channels and checking those out so you can learn more about them. And I'm really anxious to try my own once I get them in. I have a local friend who sells some therapeutic grade oils, and I'll be getting those shortly, in probably about another week. And so I'm going to start working with those, and it's going to be different because I know I'm used to using whole capfuls, and I know that I've got to cut it back to just a tiny, tiny amount. But to me, looking into it, I think the cost works out to be the same or even better going with the therapeutic than going with the oil that's been cut, especially when some of these companies are starting to use synthetic ingredients, and that's very disturbing. Okay, so this is blending pretty good. This consistency looks pretty good, but to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for a little bit longer, and I'll come back and probably, if I need to, I'll add some more tea, and then I'll put it in the separate little bowls and add the essential oils. So when this is ready, I'll come back and I'll show you that step. All right, so now that I have this at a pretty decent consistency, I'm going to go ahead and put these in these small bowls. And as you can see, there's a lot more here. That's because I added more too, because I wanted to make sure not only did I have enough, I wanted to make sure I had more than enough, because I got to fill my own jar because I'm about out. All right, so this is pretty full. I'm getting a little carried away here. I need to put in a little less to start with to make it easier to mix. And I'm putting it in these little bowls so I have a better idea, because these are about the same size. A little bit, they hold a little bit more, but I'm okay with that. since I don't mind if I blend all these together in one for myself. So the first one, I'm going to do the rosemary, which I'm just about out of this, and the grapefruit. Personally, I found I really like the smell of rosemary and grapefruit together. And then you're gonna take your fork or whatever you're using to blend with. I find a salad fork is a good size for this, and you're just gonna mix that in as good as you can, and just keep mixing. The next one, even though that's got a lot of mixing to do, the next one is the frankincense. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that oil in there. Oops, this is a brand new bottle, so I like to take, since I have to pour these in, I like to take the little, dropper thing off. Okay, so I'll let that sit there, and as I continue to blend this, this right here actually should give me more than enough to fill up my little 1/4 pint jar, which is a 1/2 cup. I'm pretty sure this is better than a 1/2 cup, these little monkey bowls, or dessert bowls, or whatever you want to call them. So you're just going to mix that real good. You want it really well blended. Another thought I had is you could also use dried grapefruit peel and add that to your tea. But I didn't have any, I didn't have any dehydrated grapefruit peel. I have orange and I have lemon, because I saved the peels off my other citrus fruits. And, and then dry them up and then use them in baking and teas and stuff. The orange, by the way, the orange peel is so good in cinnamon rolls. Just so you have this orange cinnamon roll, and then I usually put almonds on top. One of these days I'll do a video on that. So once you know it's well blended, I'm going to want to get a different fork for the next one, since it's a different scent, a different blend. Then you're going to take your spatula. Obviously I'm going to have to clean this off really good after I get it in here. And this is also, if you're packaging this up for a gift or to sell, like I'm doing here, then you're going to want to really make sure you get all your air bubbles out, and that's pretty tricky. I'm probably not going to do all this on here, but it's kind of like canning. You just kind of keep going around and pushing that down. Anyway, I'm not going to finish all this out on there. I'll do this off camera, because it's a long process, but you get the idea. You see how it's done, and really it's the mixing that's the hardest part. The rest of it's simple. Brewing the tea, your herbs, and whatever herbs you want to put in there that you know are good for your skin, whatever essential oils you want to add that are good for your skin. And again, I'm going to keep saying this, remember, if you're using therapeutic grade, you're not going to use near as much as what I've used. One more thing I did want to explain about why I started out with Now Foods is at the time that I looked into the company, they were very much anti-GMO. They were part of the non-GMO campaign. Now, I don't know if they still are. I'm afraid with what I've discovered is things have changed and they've gone backwards. So I'm going to look into them some more, because I've always liked them up until I got that bottle that said synthetic, and I was very, very disappointed. But things change. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to these since I've mentioned them, but look into them for yourself and look into the company, and I'm going to do that again myself. But I still recommend, I mean, if money's tight, maybe it's an okay place to start, but I still recommend going with a good therapeutic brand that you know you can trust, whether it be Young Living or doTERRA, or I don't know if there's some other real good ones out there, but you really want to do your research. And then research again, because just like I said, I researched it before I bought them and was real happy with what I read, but now it seems things have changed. Sometimes money becomes more important, just like with anything, and quality can go down. So just check that out all the time. it can be labor intensive sometimes, but that's another reason why it's best to try to get as self-sufficient as possible, to where, just like with the clay mask, you're making it yourself. You know what's going in it. So, all right. So I think that's good. I think I'm going to stop there, and you've got the idea of how it's made. And this stuff is just so excellent for your skin and for your hair. I've tried it on my hair and loved what it did for my hair. I just haven't done it for a while because it's kind of a pain, because I got to work it through all of my very curly hair and scalp. But it's really good for the scalp, really good for the skin. I've had a lot of good results. And one more thing I do want to say before I forget is that I do not recommend you use this clay on your skin more than 2 days in a row. I tried that. I did it 3 days in a row, and because of the Bentonite clay has such a very drawing power to it, it was too much. And I don't have sensitive skin. That after the third use, when I washed the clay off, my skin was very sensitive and it was red. My whole face was red, and everywhere. I mean, you could see the perfect line everywhere the clay ended. Thankfully, the redness went away after about an hour or so, but I learned my lesson. So 2 days in a row might be okay. I just recommend using it one to 2 times a week on your face and your hair. Now, on my toes, I do it every other day. So, and I have had it burn around the skin around my toes when I put it on there, like 3 days in a row again. So it's like, okay, it's not just my face. So just be careful with that, because it is the Bentonite clay is very powerful. But that's why it's also really good to take internally, mixing it with water, and it'll help draw the toxins out of your system. Now, I need to add this because I did recommend taking it internally. I did recommend using it on toenail funguses and other skin infections. I am not a doctor, and nothing I say is meant to replace medical advice. This is just what we do. It's what I've been practicing, and one of the many ways we've been able to be free from all pharmaceuticals, and I mean literally all, whether they be OTC or prescription. And I make all of my own beauty products and soaps, and there's pretty much nothing that we buy, of anything like that, whether it be cleaning products or care products. There's nothing that we buy at the store anymore. I just get the ingredients I need, like the Bentonite clay and the baking sodas and all that. So I hope you like this video and that you learned something new, and it puts you just another step closer to being a little bit more sufficient and a little bit more frugal. Take care.